Welcome to the All Access Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Joseph Bruen, and this week, a very special guest once again. It is none other than Mr. Mark Canterbury himself, Henry O. Godwinn. Thanks for joining us, Mark.
Thanks, Joe. It's good to be here. Just got back from Vegas. We've been trying to do this for a couple weeks, I think, but we'll get her done tonight, won't we?
Absolutely. Appreciate you taking some time and sitting with us for a little bit and chatting about your career. So looking forward to this. And, why don't we rewind to the very beginning? Growing up as a fan, when did you first discover pro wrestling?
4 or 5 years old. I can still remember it. Coming from Northern Virginia down to West Virginia, where my parents are from, my grandfather, well, my papa is what I call him, he would watch wrestling out of Oak Hill, West Virginia. And that was an early age for me. So, man, what great memories watching with him. And it just kept building as I got older. I always loved, played football, wrestled in high school. Then I went to over by Salem, Virginia, Roanoke, that area. Sandy Scott was running that area over there. And I tried to get on. Nothing happened. Then I met George South, an Italian stallion, and started working with him. That's who trained me, George South.
Wow.
Italian stallion, he was the physical part. George taught me the brains of the business.
Yeah.
So, but it was great. Good time, paid some dues and, but it was worth it. Paid off.
Two great journeymen in the business for sure. I mean, the Italian stallion, George South, between the two of them, the amount of knowledge they have for pro wrestling is just unbelievable.
Yeah, George is like just a walking encyclopedia of ideas and knows so much about it. Could work a damn broomstick for 30 minutes and you'd be on the edge of your seat.
Right. Now, when did you get your break as far as WCW goes? Because obviously that was your first big break, World Championship Wrestling. And obviously you were one half of the Texicans, also known as Southern Justice, Shanghai Pierce, Tex Slazenger. That was from 92 to 94. When did that actually happen for you?
George and Stow were training me. I probably wrestled about a year, and then they started taking me to Atlanta to be an extra down there. I worked Ron Simmons, PN News, Elegante, Sting, so Johnny B. Bad, as Mean Mark Canterbury. That's what I was going by down there. But yeah, it was just a good time. And then finally, I wrestled Eric Watts one night. Cowboy Bill Watts come in and took over. Well, Eric graduated from University of Louisville, come down to WCW, and my first big match was with me and him. His big match, his debut on down at Center Stage in Atlanta. Had a hell of a little match with him. Matter of fact, I seen it a few months ago. Somebody had pulled it up and found it and showed it to me. But I went back to the back after the match. Thought it had a good match, TV match, and Dusty had since I forget who it was, but somebody had come by and said, yeah, they want to talk to you. They want to know if you can go out on the road and work Eric some. And I said, yeah, when? They got tonight if you can go. So after TV, I didn't, I drove down with George and Stal, had just the clothes I was wearing and my gear. So Arn Anderson gave me some stuff to wear. I just met Arn, and Stal, George were giving me clothes so I could go on the road. I didn't even go home. And but that's how I got my break. And then a little while after that, Dusty said, well, I got a gimmick. and it was the Tex in Shanghai. So, of course, Phineas come up. He was in Memphis at the time, and he had his dark match. I had already been working there for a couple of years by then, and they put us together, and that's how Tex in Shanghai got started. Dusty liked old westerns, so I remember Barry Windham. He took us under his wing down there because we lived in the same high rise and there in Marietta. So Barry had told us how Dusty had come up with our names. It's there are two ranchers, Texas ranchmen on the movie The Gunfight at the OK Corral. So that's where our names come
Awesome.
from
All right.
Dusty doing
I was
that.
curious how that happened. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So early on in your career, obviously you said you started off as Mean Mark. You were a singles wrestler first. You worked with Sting early on. Obviously, he was new at the same time as well. What was it like working with Sting at that stage?
It was good because he was so hot. That was 92, 93. We were there. Well, I was there from like 90 to 94, but we were under contract in 92 to 94. And yeah, Sting was hot, young, good looking, built like a brick shit house, and just perfect. But it was exciting because the fans loved him
Yeah.
down there. And so it was good exposure, and we had a good little match, TV match. But yeah, George said just go down there and listen and be respectful, and I was raised that way, so he said just take it all in, just sit back and listen, and you'll learn, and he was right.
Yep. And what was it like being in the ring with El Gigante? Obviously, completely different style. What was that like?
Yeah, little scary because people that can't move and that big are dangerous, and
Yeah.
unlike Kevin Nash is almost that big, but Kevin could move, he could, but yeah, Elegante was a challenge.
Yeah. You mentioned Dusty Rhodes, obviously being one of the heads there. Who else was in the front office of WCW during that time?
Well, let's see, it was Barry, Cowboy, Bill Watts, Dusty, Mike Graham. I'm trying to think if Dundee even maybe helped a little bit down there at the time, but that's the ones I remember the most.
In those early 90s, what was the atmosphere like backstage? Was it, did everybody kind of get along? Was it relaxed or was it kind of chaotic?
It was it was actually pretty nice. Uh, the Steiners were there, the Nasty Boys, and Paul Orndorff was a good friend of ours. Rode with Paul some, and uh, loved being around him. And God, there were so much knowledge walking around with Arn. And Arn helped us a lot. Pee Wee Anderson, we hung with him almost 24/7 at times.
Wow.
But yeah, just good people. Dick Slater, Murdoch, Dusty. You get all them guys together, and you're bound to have a good time and
Yeah.
learn something.
And
Ole,
oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
Just about a year later, you would go on to the WWF with your singles heel run, 1994. You know, how did that transition take place? When did they reach out to you or did you want to go there?
Well, we knew our time was about over. Bischoff had come in, and he'd taken over. He was doing that weekly magazine and a little announcing. And then he was all of a sudden the man. And Tex had pushed him over a table a couple times, so I figured we were probably on our way out. We were at a big club with Arn one night, and Bischoff and his wife come in, and him and Tex sort of started challenging each other, just goofing around, and then it got a little physical. Tex pushed him over a table twice, so I was looking. Uh, Kevin Nash and Harley Race spoke for me to New York, And so about 4 weeks after we got let go, Flair come back out of retirement, was bringing all his buddies back, and they were letting the younger guys go, and they let me, Phineas, Hunter. There was somebody else they let go at about the same time. And Tex come up a year later, but he had some stuff he had to work out, personal stuff. And but I was always, pushing and rooting for him to come up. And so they had called me and set an appointment, a time for me to come up and meet with Vince and JJ Dillon. So I went up and went back in that little kayfabe office of Vince's, and God, we were there probably 3 hours. And he asked me, what I'd done, and he'd seen my work and said I could work good, and wanted to know what I did growing up. And I worked in a psych floor, drove a truck, farmed. And when I said farmed, he, like a light bulb went off. He goes, "Well, what kind of animals did you have?" And I told him, we had cows and horses and hogs. And when I said that, it's like another light bulb went off. So he says, "What do you do with the hogs?" I told him, we feed them and ring them and castrate them, and so slop them. And man, matter of fact, I'll show you. I just found this. This is from the development department. I
Oh,
just
wow.
found that about 3 months ago in my shed, my building. But that's from 1994. It's got the date, it's got the artist who wrote it from The Office. So that was the first. They sent me that about 2 weeks after I met with Vince and JJ.
Wow, what a piece. So that was the
So
original thought process right there.
yeah,
Of how you
yeah.
got
And I've been offered $1,200 for that piece of paper already.
it. Oh, wow, there we
But
go.
it's yeah, I love finding stuff, like that. And I found some other things, and I found a card, one of the drag cars Taker had given me in the locker room in '96. I got it sitting over there. But yeah, just finding little treasures like that are pretty neat, and
Yeah.
I cherish them, man. So all I got left is memories and a little bit of memorabilia.
Right. Well, memories are the best part for sure.
Yeah,
Now, when it comes to the gimmick, Henry O. Godwinn, obviously O standing for Orpheus. Where did that come from? Who came up with Orpheus?
Vince did. It's somebody in his family. I don't know if it was his grandfather or great uncle, but I remember him saying, "That's my something." It's been since '94, but it was somebody in his family, and he threw it on me that day, and that's what it was. Henry Orpheus Godwinn.
And the
He
slop
wanted
bucket
hog, yeah,
hog. Yeah.
and the slop bucket, yeah,
Slop bucket became
everything
a
was,
big likeness for you, obviously, and was always there at
yeah.
ringside. What was actually in the slop bucket? What were people putting in that?
Usually, I was just, well, one person got special slop, but we'll get into that. Uh, Usually, I would do like a little water, some ranch, lettuce, rice, some bread, something with a little substance, that's going to stick.
Right.
And but they weren't never too bad, and they weren't full. Except we come to TV one day, and they said, "Henry, you're going to slop Sonny tonight." I was like, "Oh my God, this is going to be awesome!" So we got in there, and they told us that, and so I went and did my thing. I always took it to catering on TV or um, pay-per-views or something. We always had a big catering, so I went and made my slop. It was about, my buckets are, the metal buckets. It was about half full. And it was just the normal stuff. And I took it in the locker room, and all the boys were excited because, "Oh, Sonny's going to get slop tonight." And I said, "Yeah, this is a slop. Nobody mess with this bucket now." And I set it down. Well, went to production, went over the match and everything. And when I come back to the locker room, it was about that far from being full. So there was almost a half another bucket of something in there. But
Oh man.
yeah, some of the guys Kid and Razor and Dr. Tom Pritchard and a couple others. But
Made their donations.
Cornette on that Vice, yeah, Cornette on the Vice channel said, yeah, the night that Godwinn slopped Sonny, there was 23 different DNAs in that bucket.
Oh man! And that
So
infamous moment made it to the cover of World Wrestling Federation magazine. You know, that was a cover shot.
said it was one of the top selling ones at the time.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Now you're helping the $1 Million Man, the corporation, there for a little while. You know, you didn't officially join, but you were kind of, you know, helping them out. And then you ended up slopping DiBiase. Was the original process that they were looking at maybe to have you join the corporation, or did that change midway?
Yeah, that's what they were wanting. That's the way. That's the avenue we were taking. What I thought, and then I ended up. Me and Bam Bam sort of helped each other out with the corporation. Uh, I just watched that match not too long ago. Me and Sid worked at a pay per view, and then Bam Bam come out and helped me, and then so yeah, I don't know really what happened, but I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that whole thing. You know, DiBiase, I slopped him 3 times, and after the first one, he said, "Vince, you're gonna have to start buying my damn suits because we were messing his damn expensive suits up." So Vince bought him, I think, the last 2 suits.
Did you ever slop anybody near the commentary area? Maybe try to get a little bit on Vince?
Uh, no, that was always, no pun intended, that was always on my bucket list. And I would love to go back and slop Hunter one more time if he would be up for it.
There's still time. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now,
And from the
speaking,
comments I'm looking, he's got some heat right now, so it'd be good time for me to come slop him.
I think so. Yeah, it's kind of well deserved, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. So I'd be up for that.
When it comes to Triple H, you worked with him early on there in 1995. Obviously, the Hog Pen match. Tell us about how that Hog Pen match came about. You know, the concept of it, and it must have been difficult to actually have a match in there, but it ended up turning out pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. We were up for the Slammy Awards that year for one of the top 5 matches of the year.
Yeah.
So we were both pretty pleased with it, and Vince was pleased with it because, you know, Hunter was bleeding, got 14 stitches in his back, and we had mud and shit in our ears and everywhere. I had to throw most of my gear away, and but the we had the ring, and then the hog pen was set down, God, probably 100 feet, 150 feet from the ring, so we had to kick each other's ass going all the way down, up and down. So it was a lot of moving parts, and but the whoever went in the hog pen lost, and of course I went in, took my flip over that, and ended up in with them, and but I did get Hunter back. I had pressed him and walked him around a little bit, and then slammed him in that, and started running the pigs around him, and I did Taker's thing. We were talking about, we were afraid he was going to get some new swine disease or something because we were afraid he was going to get staph because he had the cut and then all the hog crap in the mud all
Yeah.
day. And we were afraid he was going to come up down with something, but he survived it. I scarred him for life though. But he was a trooper up to that point
Yeah.
because he got slopped every night over in, we did all that Germany stuff, and I was slopping him every night over there. And we both would have to take our gear and wash it and hang it up in the hotel and hoped it dried for the next day.
Oh man.
Didn't stink too bad, but that was an awesome time. Me and him had great chemistry together.
Yeah.
I know we worked overseas one night, and Kevin Nash, he said, "Y'all have a hell of a match." This was right before the hog pen match, and we were just spot on with each other. So it was a good time. And Vince, when we come back from the hog pen match, he said, I can't believe you boys pulled that off. He said that was a hell of a match, and I'll always remember and cherish that moment because I think some of the boys thought it was going to be just a bunch of ha ha, country boy bull, but it was a rough match. We were both sore the next couple days after that.
Sure. And like you said, it made it to one of the top matches of the year. And people still talk about it to this day. We're talking about it right now. It's one of those moments that people will always
Yeah,
remember. So eventually,
yeah,
Phineas I.
very,
Godwinn.
very.
Oh,
What's
sorry. Go
that?
ahead.
I didn't hear you.
Eventually, Phineas I. Godwinn would come along to the World Wrestling Federation and join back up with you. Um, you know, Basically, the Godwinns were born. Hillbilly Jim with you. This time your baby faces now at this point. What was that run like in comparison to your first run with Dennis?
Oh, it was, you know, WCW was like a stepping stone for us. I think we learned a lot down there. Um, Orange said, "You guys." Orange the one that said we should go up north. He said, "You guys are too good at getting people over." He said, "You're going to be stuck in that down here if you don't go somewhere else." Uh, because we had a hell of a match at Beach Blast against Bagwell and Scorpio. A lot of people forgot about that match, but that was a hell of a match.
Yeah,
And so we were pretty good at making people look good down there. But I could see where Arn was coming from, and that's another reason that I wanted to get out of there too. So I was them letting us go was a blessing in disguise because we had so much more potential and growth up there where Vince was taking new talent, young guys, and building them the way he wants. Where WCW was bringing in, I'm not saying it was boring. I'm just saying all the the older wrestlers were down there, and
sure.
Vince is trying a new concept, taking young guys and building them. And it worked. We eventually took over the ratings after a while.
Yeah. And you mentioned you went one on one with Sid there for a little while there. When it comes to Psycho Sid, we lost him not too long ago, unfortunately. What was he like behind the scenes, and any personal memories of Sid working with Sid?
Uh, Sid, I mean, he was strong, and I enjoyed working with him. Uh, he was he was a big kid, loved softball. He would uh, he would miss a wrestling show for softball. That's how much he liked it. But yeah, Sid was a lot of fun. I worked out with him some on the road, and he was a good guy. I never had any issues with Sid. And matter of fact, he lived beside us in La Park in that high rise where uh, me and Phineas lived there. Kevin Nash lived there. Steve Regal moved his family from England. He lived there. Max Payne lived there. Road Dogg lived with us most of the time. He had his own place, but he was at our place 80% of the time. So it was a lot of people. The boys were out there, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, it was a good time. Sid lived right beside us, and Phineas one night we're in Marietta. We're 4 floors up. Uh, we're we go we go out one night. We come back, and Phineas fires a pistol off our balcony at like 11 o'clock at night. Freaks Sid out. He was scared to death. And so we talked to him the next day. He's like, I was wondering what the hell that noise was. I mean, we're in Marietta.
Yeah.
So, yeah, wild times, good times.
Wow. Now let's talk about the figures. Lots of action figures coming out of the Godwinns and all different companies. It's great to see it. Why don't you tell us about some of the different projects that have been going on with you guys?
Well, I should have some in the mail tomorrow. I talked to Mitch, Hassel Toys, and he sent them out a couple days ago. Uh, we just did the big signing in New York at I forget the name of it. You know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That was New York Comic Con, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
big show or big New York Comic Con or something.
Yeah.
But it was good. Our dolls come out. We got a first time Mitch had ever done a 3-pack. So he done one of us with Hillbilly, and then he done another one with us and Uncle Cletus, Tony Anthony,
Yeah.
T.L. Hopper.
The Dirty White Boy.
So they're out. Yeah, Dirty White Boy. So I do have them.
Oh, very nice.
And then there's Uncle Cletus.
Wow. That's
There they
fantastic.
are.
Do you have a
That's
preference?
my
Do you like the bigger ones or do you like the
BSK
smaller?
wall.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there's the table for 3. Yoko got him up there.
Awesome.
Yeah, good time, man. Good time.
When it comes to BSK, you know, how did that relationship start? You know, all you guys kind of becoming a solid crew like that.
Oh, you broke up.
Oh, BSK, you know, how did that relationship start becoming a solid crew like that?
we just, I started riding with when I first went up there, I was riding with Double J, and then Road Dog got on. It was me and Road Dog and Double J riding for God, probably 8 months, 9 months, and then I started riding with Taker and Paul Bear, and then it seemed like me and Yoko and Taker, Paul Bear, we were always, and then Godfather came back, and we were all hanging out, and we had all went out one night together. This is before Phineas came up there, but we had went out one night together, and Yoko yells out, uh, "Bone Street Crew, bitches!" Walked in a bar, and that's what he said. So that's how that come. We always played dominoes, like at TVs. We would play dominoes for 2 or 3 hours, which is called Bones, and that's how. And the crew was spelt with a K, so that's how it started. Him and Taker sort of come up with it.
Man. And it's great because you know a lot of people in the wrestling business, they don't have a crew. They don't have, you know, many friends sometimes. So for you to have all of those close friends and still to this
Yeah.
day so many of them, it's fantastic. So Yokozuna.
Yeah, it was Taker, Yoko, Rikishi, Godfather, me, Sabio, Paul Bear, Mr. Fuji. Uh, Brian Adams was like an honorary member. He didn't hang out with us all the time, but he was semi BSK.
Any
And
personal stories of
then
Brian Adams?
text finally come up. What's that?
Any personal stories of Brian Adams?
Uh, Not really. Not just hanging out. He would hang out with us some. Uh, Loved him. Good guy, quiet, very humble, I thought, but funny, just we were all like big kids, 300-pound kids. Uh, I was real close with Rodney. Yoko used to go home with him out in California. I'd go home with him if we were out that way instead of flying all the way back to the East Coast. I'd stay with him and just fly out from there. But had a lot of good memories with Yoko and all them boys. I when we all finally got together at Taker's thing a few years ago, we hadn't been together in 20 years, all of us at one time. So I said we made up for 20 years in one night. And but we were a very diverse group. We had blacks and whites and Samoans and Asians, and it was just a big diverse family, a bunch of kids running around. That's what I felt like. But I always knew they had my back, and they knew I had theirs. I told them I'd take a bullet for any of them, and still would today. So, just yeah, they were my brothers.
Now, when it comes to fan interactions over the years, is there a fan interaction that stands out more than the other?
What do you mean? Like,
Well, if you met fans at either conventions or even, back with your time with the WWF, was there something that stood out that was a special moment, or, maybe they gave you something and it meant a lot, or, whatever it may be?
uh, the fans were awesome up there. Uh, I can't remember their names, but guys around New York that would come to the Garden that I've known for 30 years almost. I seen some of them at a signing last year, and just to be friends with a fan for 30 years, and then when you see them, you pick up right where you left off.
Yeah.
That's more than a fan. That's a friend to me. So it's good seeing them guys. I know the night we won the belts in the Garden, I had a John Deere hat on, and I remember taking it and just flinging it out in the crowd as far as I could. Well, about 6 months later, we were in New York City at Hard Rock doing a signing. The guy who got my hat come through the line and wanted me to sign it. So I knew it was my hat because inside I would write hog on, and he brought it and I checked it. It was my hat,
Wow, that's great.
so I signed it and give it back to him. But yeah, things like that, man. Just I love stuff like that.
And did you have, obviously you had the Bone Street crew, but did you have traveling partners? Were you actually traveling with the same people all the time? I know you mentioned a couple. Did it change?
Yeah. Well, when Phineas come up, me and him run together, and we were usually with Yoko because I was driving Yoko when it was just me up there. Sometimes it'd be me and Godfather and Yoko. Sometimes it'd be me and Godfather and Rakishi. But then when Phineas come up, then we had Paul and Taker, and then we had Savio, and so it started being 3 or 4 carloads of the BSK running around.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to go out with them guys and be around them, and to be honest, we were there out of wrestling for each other too, personally. Of course, stuff I can't talk about, but we weren't just see you the next tour. We kept in touch and went to each other's houses, and me and Phineas got along with everybody. We went home with Sean when he was in San Antonio. We went to his house and stayed with him one weekend. So, and we were close with Kevin Nash. So we were like social butterflies, but our crew was BSK. But we tried to get along with everybody because I've been friends with Kevin since '92, long time ago.
Wow. So a lot of superstars back then, it was a different time, obviously. There were a lot of interesting characters, the Mantars and the Portuguese Man o' War, and everybody had characters. Where you fast forward to today's wrestling, it's a little bit different. They're more I don't know what the term is, maybe realistic, or they kind of just look like, an average person. What are your thoughts of that change and kind of losing the luster of the character?
Oh, you broke up there at the end. I couldn't hear you.
Oh, well, going from the 90s where you had all the characters and fast forward to today, it's a little different, not as many characters. What do you think what's your opinion on that? The difference, the way wrestling has evolved?
I don't really think about that much anymore, but I like the characters back then. I mean, I like that era, and I just think, yeah, everybody's pretty much the same now. Everybody looks average, and but it's a lot different. I ain't got nothing bad to say about anybody, but it's definitely changed. And we had rental cars and hotels, and now they got buses, and they sleep on the buses, and we did hotels and rental cars and airports, and uh, everything's different now. You know, almost spoiled now.
Yeah.
I think us doing that, that's why we were so close with each other, because we were in the car together or we were in the hotel together. And, we all tried to stay at the same place and stay together so we could run around. But, yeah, you just lose that camaraderie, I think, now. Um, Everything's more business. Uh, the boys aren't crazy and wild like they used to be back in the 80s and 90s.
Right.
But
Exactly.
that's okay. We did our thing and we survived.
Now, do you still keep in contact with Uncle Cletus or Hillbilly Jim?
Yeah, I went down to WrestleCade in Winston-Salem a couple weeks ago, and Tony Anthony called me on the way down there, and because he was supposed to be in the New York on the New York deal with the new Dolls, but he's having some trouble with his neck and back, so he didn't make it. But yeah, I keep in touch with, of course, Tex and Godfather and Rikishi and Savio. We all got a BSK page and Taker that we keep everybody informed what's going on. So it's pretty cool. And I reach out to Kevin sometimes, because me and him are going through the same thing. We both lost sons, so I always try to, and Arn and Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton, he lost a son, and so we're all in a special club together. And I try to reach out to them guys just to let them know I'm thinking about them, because we're all in the same boat. So
And it's important to have that connection.
try
That's
to keep
great that you
them
have
in
that.
on my,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
So early on, when you first saw the action figures for the first time, Jack Specific, your very first figure, what was that experience like? Seeing yourself in a store.
Well, I remember when they first come out, because we were living in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, down by Dollywood, and I came home, and my dad had a big Walmart bag sitting there. He went over and bought all my dolls at Walmart. So man, it was really exciting. I thought I'd hit the lotto, you know. But then you go out to these stores and you say, "Damn, I'm on the rack. I'm on the shelf." So it was exciting and new and pretty damn cool to me.
One of the stops that you guys would make pretty much every summer, the Warwick Musical Theater. Any personal memories of Larry Bonoff and the Warwick Musical Theater?
Oh, just they were like family to us, him and his wife. And I think we were talking before we went live. I'm gonna have to find that picture and send it to you now, of us holding his wife up at a racetrack up there one day. But yeah, they were always good to us, and uh, I know he had set up for us all to ride motorcycles one day, Harleys. So me and Taker and Godfather and somebody else, we all got to do that one day, which was pretty neat. But yeah, he was like a uncle to us.
Yeah.
He was a good guy, brother. So he gave us a piece of the when they tore that down. We'd got a piece of the flooring or the seats or something in there. It
Oh
was
yeah.
pretty neat. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a legendary spot, especially for the New England area. So, a lot of good memories there.
had hell of a shows there.
Yeah. So obviously two-time tag team champions as the Godwinns. You worked with so many different tag teams, so many different styles. When it came to the Body Donnas, the Smoking Guns specifically, any memories working with those two teams?
Just a lot more. It was just easy, more talent. They could go, and we could too. We like to go. And Billy and Bart were fun to work with. The Headbangers are probably our top to work with. Uh, we had good chemistry with them. We had some runs with them, and of course, Chris and Dr. Tom as Body Donnas were very good. That's who we beat for the belts in the Garden that night was Sonny. So I have no complaints about the tag teams back then. Everybody could go, worked hard. Then you had the Blackjacks, Barry and Bradshaw. So it was a good time to be in the tags up there, I thought.
Yeah, a lot of great tag teams during that era. Also during that era, they had the Brawl for All, which obviously didn't go, I guess, as planned per se. But what was the Brawl for All concept when you first heard about it? What were your thoughts on that?
All the boys were a little skeptical of it because, you know, we're not boxers, we're wrestlers or barroom brawlers. But you can't put restrictions on a ballroom brawler.
Right. Exactly.
He's helpless. But it was not good. I didn't like it. I didn't want it. I wanted to do it, but I had just had sinus surgery like 6 weeks before this. So I said, man, I don't think I should do this. I just had sinus surgery. And but I went on and did it anyway. Me and Bradshaw fought first. And me and him had tagged each other and a few times. He was bleeding and my side of my face was numb, I guess, from the surgery and got whacked in it. But I mean, it could have messed up some people for bad. I mean, Godfather and Bradshaw, they said they were loopy for a day or two. You know, they both got knocked out.
Wow.
And so it was dangerous and reckless. And Vince Russo had a hard on for Bradshaw and from the beginning anyway. And that Vince Russo is that's a whole nother damn podcast. But yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like the way Vince Russo was acting with it. He wanted to see somebody hurt Bradshaw, and I thought it was reckless. I didn't like it.
Now, did you prefer your heel run or your babyface run in the WWF?
Well, we were pretty much baby faces from the beginning, and then after the Road Warriors broke my neck, it was a nice fresh air coming to be a heel because we were having to do all these signings and radio and TVs in the morning because we were baby faces. And when we did the heel part, we didn't have to do all of that. So it was nice, and we could sort of let our hair down and be different. So it was, I liked it. I liked the heel part of it.
Any personal memories from any of the international tours that you were a part of? Anything that stands out?
Oh, trying to think what I can tell and what I can't.
Yeah.
Got a lot I can't tell. The Europe were very good. That's where I got my name, Hillbilly Lover, HBL. What Taker and Yoko wrote a song about. But Mr. International. But no, we had some good times. I remember Yoko. We would go into a bar. We'd have the show. We'd go back to the hotel, go down the bar. Yoko would always go and buy a fifth of Jack Daniels, which over there was like you had to pay $75 or $80 for just a fifth of Jack over there. But he would do it. And he would bring it to the table and set it down. Here would come like 10 or 12 beers, and he'd take that cap off the Jack Daniels and throw it in the trash. So that meant nobody was getting up from the table till it was gone.
Right.
So we had a lot of nights like that. But yeah, we always took care of each other, and great group of guys.
So you're traveling from town to town, city to city. Did you have a favorite venue, something you'd look forward to going to, or also restaurants as well? Like, oh, I can't wait to go to this city. I got to hit this spot.
Well, Worcester, Mass. All the boys ate at a place called Aku Aku. It was a Hawaiian restaurant. It was right down from the Spectrum,
Yep.
like 5 minutes from where we wrestled there in Worcester. But then a few years ago, somebody told me they had closed it down. But man, that was a happening place.
Yeah.
We I got a story for you. I can tell this one. I don't care. Me and Phineas and Hunter and Savio are riding together. So we go to this Aku Aku, and they had these big drinks, tropical drinks, and we're all drinking them. I didn't drink as much because I'm driving. So Phineas had met a girl. We had to take her home. She was drunk. So Savio is in the back seat and he's passed out. Well, we're in a Lincoln, and the Lincoln back windows, it was a power window, but when it come down, it stopped halfway. So we're going down the road. Savio, I hear him back there. You can tell he's not going to make it. He goes, roll the window down. Rolled the window down, but it stops halfway. So when he puked, when he turned to puke, he puked inside on the window.
Oh man.
So it took about 20, 30 minutes to clean up and get him cleaned up. But yeah, just fun little stories like that. We had so many nights like that.
That's great. 2006 to 2007, you'd go to Deep South Wrestling, reform the Godwinns with Ray Gordy. What was that like?
It was good, but it just never felt right. Being with Tex and Hillbilly, and me and Phineas have been together. I mean, we're going on 34 years of being partners and being friends, and we've never had a cross word between us. So, but it was an interesting time, and God, miss the days, man.
Yeah.
Miss them.
Now you said you made up for 20 years past, coming to the Hall of Fame ceremony for the Undertaker. Yeah, can you elaborate on how it actually was to see these guys all together again for the first time in a while? Whether it's the Hall of Fame ceremony, whether it's the table for three, what that experience was like for you.
It's always a good time when we get together because we just start telling those stories, or we play bones, or do something. But we were just always there for each other. And that first time that we got together in 20 years, well, you know, Flair was down there with us, and he left. We were the last ones there. And I know Taker and Godfather had to put me and Phineas to bed. There's actually a video that Savio has of us going from the bar up to our rooms, which is pretty entertaining. He said that should be on TMZ. I said, hell no, that should not be on TMZ. But yeah, we went through 4/5 of Jack Daniels that night, and
Wow.
probably 100 beers. I know another guy that I loved being around and went to his bar was Timmy White, and he was with us that night. Uh, he took a flat back bump at the bar just from see that. I said, "See, that's what happens when you hang with the VSK."
Any
Yeah,
personal memories of Timmy?
well, we had a great time. We went to his bar one night. I can't remember where his bar was. Do you remember?
Yeah, I believe that's in Cumberland, Rhode Island.
Yeah, that's it. And so we've been there a couple of times, but Timmy was a sweetheart. Just he was smart and very good at what he did too. But He was a hoot.
And the third man in the ring is always obviously the third most important guy, the referee. Did you have a favorite referee to work with?
I liked. Well, I thought all of ours were good. Hebner, Kyoto. I was just with Kyoto the other day at the signing, and Timmy, uh, Jack, little blonde. I can't
Jack
remember his name.
Stone,
Jack, yeah. And Hebner's. I mean,
Jimmy
they,
Corderas.
yeah, they were as important as we were, if not more, because they were like the glue that held the whole match together. I think.
Yeah.
They had some important stuff to keep up with, and so we were blessed with good refs.
And if you could pick one moment, it might be hard, but your favorite moment within your entire career, was there anything that was just the highlight for you?
Uh, I'll give you three. Winning the belts in the Garden. Uh, man, I get goosebumps still thinking it because the fire marshals were out that night. Uh, they had way too many people in there that night, so it was good for us. But man, just that pop, I can still remember it like it was yesterday, and jumping up on Hillbilly's shoulders and just going crazy. It was a lot of fun. And then, of course, the hog pen match was special to me. And then, let's see, the BSK at Survivor Series with Taker wore the Phantom of the Opera mask. And it
Yeah.
was me and Junior, or Fatu, and Savio and Taker. And so that was the BSK then. Phineas hadn't come up yet. And but that was a good match. That was a fun night too. So those stick out to me a lot. And of course, when we did the India tour, the only time I got to work Yoko was in India. And me and him had a couple hell of a matches and just had fun. And I remember I clotheslined him and he said, "Damn, Hog, what do I owe you money?" So, but he was a bumping fool back then. He could go. And people don't realize that being that big, that heavy, he could go.
Yeah. Any personal memories of Howard Finkel?
Oh, yeah. We shaved his head that night, me and Phineas, when we were Southern Justice.
Yeah.
Excuse me. We were with Jeff Jarrett, and we got Howard up in the ring. And matter of fact, I seen a picture of that in a magazine not too long ago. And he always told me, he says, "Henry, I wish y'all would have shaved my head years ago because he never grew his hair back. He loved it." So I always told him we changed his looks and his hairdo and everything.
And what were your interactions with Vince like over the years? Was he, for you personally, easy to get along with, nice to work with?
Yeah. I mean, I've heard some horror stories, but he was always good to us. And I remember one night Taker was still living in Nashville. And I guess we'd had a pay-per-view or something, but we went to Taker's house. Well, Pat Patterson and Bruce Pritchard and Vince come to Taker's house. Uh, they had got Taker and Yoko had got turkey tails. That's what we ate a lot, was turkey tails, rice. Uh, so we had them, and it was me, Godfather, Yoko, Taker. I don't know if Phineas was there or not. I can't remember, but that was a fun night. Just hanging out, just the boys. Nobody else was around, and just that crew. It was a good time. A
Yeah.
lot of yeah.
And you were there with three of the biggest pranksters around that time: Owen Hart, Mr. Fuji, Mr. Perfect. Did you ever witness any of the shenanigans?
You forgot one other one, Davy Boy. When
Ah,
him and Owen
yes.
got together, we were where were we? I think we were in Worcester, and they had people that worked there that wore some kind of, I think it was a red coat that said uh, security, or I forget what it said on, but they all worked right there and part of the crew. Owen and Davy had got 2 cans of shaving cream, and these people were walking around in red coats working the arena. All of them had white, that stuff all over their backs. I mean, everybody walking around had a red coat on, had that stuff. But them two were. I remember one night we worked them in Canada, and there was probably five. It was a little show, just a little ice arena. It was probably 5,000 people there. We go to the ring. Owen and Davey come out. Their music starts. They come out. Owen's got a banana in his tights. Looks like he's well to do. Then he has a mouthful of water. Now it's 2 or 3 minutes before we lock up. Phineas locks up with Owen. He spits water in his face, then takes the banana out and peels it and starts eating it. So that's the kind of shit they did.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But all good, funny stuff, man.
Yeah. Beast from the East, Bam Bam Bigelow, another gentleman from that era. What was it like working with Bam Bam?
It was fun. Another big guy that can move. Matter of fact, I got a picture right here I want to show you. Can you see that?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
See the black eye he's got?
Yeah.
That's on a bus in Germany. I'd give that to him over there.
Oh, man. All right. Wow. That was a shiner right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bam Bam Bigelow. I heard he was quite light in the ring, easy to work with. Is that
Easy? Yeah. Very easy.
And another individual I wanted to ask you about, Gorilla Monsoon. Any memories of Gorilla?
No, not really. We got along with everybody. We got along with all them guys, and just another good guy, very knowledgeable, and bigger than life. Gorilla was a pretty big man.
Yeah. When it came to the agents of the WWF, was there somebody that you enjoyed working with more? Like, look forward to working with?
Blackjack Lanza. I always loved Tony Gurria. Still keep in touch with Tony. We had good agents back then. Didn't have any trouble with any of them.
What advice do you have for somebody who's looking to get into the business now?
I don't know. It's changed so much. I don't know. And I've been out of it so long. I may be giving bad advice. So I know what I did. I went and was eager and worked hard and listened and respected everybody. And that's what I wanted back in return, just respect back. Because, I was good to people. But yeah, it's a lot of hard work.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Mark. Appreciate you taking the time this week. And it's been an absolute pleasure to have you. Good to catch up with you.
Yeah, we'll have to get together next time we're out on the road.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, we'd love to have you out here. And until next time, for Mark Canterbury, Henry O. Godwinn, I'm Joseph Bruen, and this has been the All Access Entertainment Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.